So hey everybody, we got bin 17 coming at you today. We are moving right along. So we have 4 more meals today here for you. So meal 1, I cannot think about this meal without thinking about Adam Sandler. So for meal 1, we're heading to Lunch Ladyland and we're going to make some Sloppy Joes, Sloppy Joes. Yes, we're gonna have Sloppy Joes and French fries. However, I hope that these Sloppy Joes are a little bit better than the cafeteria. We're going to add some onion, celery, green pepper, vegetables, sauteed, and then we're just going to make your basic manwich Sloppy Joe. I got a great deal on this ground beef. Ground beef right now is actually pushing $4 a pound. This one was $2.66. It had a freeze-by date within 2 days when I saw it and bought it. I just popped it in the freezer, thawed it for this bin. So always be on the lookout for deals like that. But if they got it marked down, usually you want to check the date, and then if you need to freeze it right away, go ahead and freeze it, pull it back out, or if you're using it right away, you don't even have to worry about it. So we're going to make the good old manwiches with the ground beef, and I've just got a simple sesame seed bun here. Like I said, I'm going to add the vegetables into the beginning to saute, and we're going to serve the Sloppy Joes with French fries. Meal 2. Now this one is chicken cordon bleu, one of my favorite dishes. It can be a touch time consuming. Your Sloppy Joes are going to be your super quick, easy meal in this bin. The chicken cordon bleus are going to be your harder meal. If you're in a time constraint, you don't have to go to all the work pounding these out and rolling them back up. You can just layer them in. Just layer your chicken, cook your chicken off, layer your ham and your Swiss cheese on top about 3/4 of the way through the cooking time on the chicken, and just put the breadcrumb coating on the top of your chicken toward the end of the cooking time to brown. So, you can make it simpler. I'm going to show you how to roll them out. It doesn't take a whole lot of time, but it does take time. So that'll be up to you on that. We're going to serve the chicken cordon bleus, which is a simple herb butter rice. I'm going to do a boxed rice mix on this since the cordon bleus themselves are going to take a bit of time. Plus we're going to make a Dijon cream sauce to serve on top of that. And then it's just going to go with the frozen California mixed vegetable. That's just the broccoli, carrots, and the cauliflower. Meal 3, we're going to do a egg casserole. So we're going to take half of a pound of Italian sausage, round that off. We got a little bit of ham left over from our cordon bleus. And we're going to make a breakfast egg casserole with fried potatoes and onions. On Sloppy Joe night, you're going to cook off a couple of potatoes like you're baking them, and then you're going to reserve those for the egg casserole meal to make easy fried potatoes and onions. That meal is going to be another one of your easy meals, meal 3. Meal 4, we're going to finish it up with a creamy penne pasta. We're going to use the other half of the Italian sausage with some more chicken breasts, some mushrooms. We're going to make a creamy penne pasta with just a simple spinach salad. So without further ado, let's head to Lunch Ladyland. So the first thing I'm actually going to do in meal 1 is cook the potatoes for meal 3. You could also do this on meal 2 night. I chose to show you this on meal 1 just because this is our easiest meal. So adding something for a later date seemed better for me. You will have the oven on for meal 2 as well if you want to wait and do this on meal 2. But I'm just cooking off 3 potatoes with oil, salt, and pepper. I'm going to bake them to cook them all the way through. And then I'm going to chill them. And then that way in a couple days when we pull them out for meal 3, they're super easy to cut for our fried potatoes and onions. And also, they'll cut nicely. They'll be nice slices. They also won't stick to your pan as bad whenever you go to fry them up with the onions. So I'm going to pop those in the oven, and I'm going to start sauteing our vegetables. So now we're going to get started on our Sloppy Joes. The first thing we're going to do is going to saute off the onion, celery, green pepper. I had a little bit of red onion left as well, so I'm going to throw that in just to get rid of it first before I moved on to my white onion. We're going to saute all this off with some salt, pepper, and Italian seasoning. Make sure you save half your green pepper for the egg casserole. I'm going to cook this with all the seasonings in it for 2 or 3 minutes, and then I'll add in the ground beef. And when the ground beef is cooked through, I'm going to strain off all the excess fat before I add in the sauce. While our hamburger's cooking, I'm going to get the buns buttered up and get those toasting in the oven. This is going to be a super quick, easy meal. So we're going to be moving fast on this. One thing too, you might want to set a timer for your potatoes because this meal will be done before your baked potatoes get done. So if you're putting your potatoes in on this meal, you'll want to set a timer so you don't forget about them in the oven. You know, you go in, you start eating dinner and oops, forgot about the potatoes. So make sure you set a timer on that. I'm going to get these about 3/4 of the way toasted, and I'm going to put cheese on ours. I'm going to sprinkle shredded cheddar cheese on the inside of both of the buns. Also, I'm going to get our deep fryer on, heating up, ready to go for our French fries. So meal one, our sloppy joes. So we have the sesame seed bun. We put cheese on that. We also added vegetables into the manwich mix. Better than any cafeteria sloppy joe right there. And this is such an easy weeknight meal. It takes no time at all to make this one. Sloppy joes, meal one. So now we're going to start working on meal two, our chicken cordon bleus. So we're going to actually take our chicken breasts. I'm going to use 4 of these chicken breasts. Those are those larger jumbo chicken breasts. I'm going to actually kind of trim off the top of them and make them a little bit flatter so when we pound them out, it's a little bit easier. All the pieces that I'm trimming off, filleting off of them, I'm going to reserve in a bowl, and that's what we're going to use in our penne pasta for meal 4. So we've got our chicken breast here, filet. They're almost all about approximately the same size. We'll start pounding those out. You can go ahead and cube this up for meal 4 now if you'd like, so you don't have to make the mess again on meal 4. You can go ahead and cube it up. To pound these out, you want to lay the plastic wrap on your cutting board. Layer the chicken in between, season them up with salt, pepper, and garlic powder, and then we're going to cover the top of them again with plastic wrap, and that'll keep the chicken from splattering all over the place, plus it's keeping you from pounding the chicken down into the cutting board as well. And I always pound mine on both sides and season on both sides. So halfway through, I'll pull off the top layer, turn them over, re-season, and pound again. Scallopinis done. I'm going to remove the plastic now. We're going to layer in our ham and Swiss cheese, and we're going to start rolling these bad boys up. So we've got our ham, deli sliced ham, nice and thin. We're going to layer that out. And a couple slices of our Swiss cheese. Just make sure you get a thin slice on the Swiss cheese. We're going to get them all rolled up, and then we're going to secure them with some toothpicks. Rolling them up nice and tight. Okay, so now we're going to bread these guys up. So I want to make sure that they are secured with some toothpicks before we start breading them. And, you know, mine seem to roll up really nice and fine, so I'm just going to kind of put one toothpick in them unless they seem like they're going to fall apart on me for some reason. Now we pounded our seasoning into the chicken already, but we are going to sprinkle a little bit of salt and pepper into our flour mix. Next, we're going to get a couple of cracked eggs in here. Lastly, I melted some butter, a half stick of butter, and sprinkle some parsley flakes in there. We're going to add in our breadcrumbs. This time I bought panko breadcrumbs. Not the regular Italian style breadcrumbs, but if you have the Italian style breadcrumbs, it's fine. You don't have to use the panko. Panko is just a little bit coarser, So it makes for a more common appearance on the chicken cordon bleu. But if you have the other regular breadcrumbs, feel free just to go ahead and use those. Wet hand, a dry hand. You've seen me do this before. Dry ingredients in one hand and your wet ingredients with the other. That keeps yourself from breading your own hand. Before we start breading, I'm going to get our sheet pan ready real quick. That spray is going to hold it down so it doesn't fly away on us while we're breading them. I'm also going to lightly spray the top just so they don't stick, and we're going to start breading them. Alright, here we are. That was not so bad. Alright, we're going to get them in the oven, and I'm going to put these in for about a half an hour. They need to be 165 degrees in the middle, okay? You have to make sure that your middle gets cooked. The chicken in the middle gets cooked. So 165 through the middle. So our chicken cordon bleus are cooking nicely. I got a long grain and wild rice-a-roni mix for ours. I'm going to get that going because this takes almost as long as the chicken to cook. I think a wild rice is very traditionally served with chicken cordon bleu. You could do urban butter blend, any other, you just even do a cheddar and broccoli one if you'd like. That's the one I chose. So cook your rice according to the package directions. I'm also going to throw in our California vegetable mix toward the end, about the last 10 minutes of the cordon bleus. I'm going to get the vegetables working with just a little bit of water, butter, salt, and pepper. So we got our rice and our vegetables almost done. We're going to whip up our sauce for our chicken cordon bleus. Got a couple tablespoons of butter in there. I'm going to add in my flour. Okay, so our sauce is getting nice and smooth there. We're going to add in our milk, Dijon mustard, and salt and pepper. And that's our sauce. So we'll just put that in a bowl. So here is meal 2. Chicken cordon bleus with the rice. I did a long grain and wild rice-a-roni mix. California mixed vegetables. And then our Dijon cream sauce. Stick one of these guys right on top of that rice. A little sprinkle of the parsley. And that's dinner, meal 2, chicken cordon bleus. We're going to start on meal 3 now. That's our breakfast egg casserole served with fried potatoes and onions. So we're going to start by getting our sausage cooked. We're going to do a half pound of Italian sausage because we're going to save half of it for meal 4. We're going to start by browning off the half pound of sausage. While that's cooking, I'm going to dice up my mushrooms and green peppers. You should have plenty of onions if you want to put onions in your breakfast casserole. So while the sausage is browning, I'll be cutting up my vegetables, and we're going to get that egg casserole in the oven, and then we'll deal with the fried potatoes and onions. So we've got our sausage cooked. We're going to continue on with the rest of the ingredients. I got my mushrooms diced up here. I've got my green peppers. I'm going to cut up some of this ham. Just rolled it up. If it's less of the sliced ham left over, just rolled it up, just kind of chiffonade it. You can chop it up however you'd like, but just so it's kind of smaller pieces in there. We're going to put all of our toppings into the casserole first. And then we're going to make our custard. And now this custard is going to be exactly like the custard that we made in bin 10 for the quiche. We did our ham and Asiago cheese quiche. This is the exact same custard recipe that we're going to be doing for that. There's our half pound of sausage that we cooked off. Remember, save the other half pound for your penne pasta for meal 4. Gonna sprinkle some cheese in here, and then we'll finish up our custard. Sprinkle a little bit of cheese, and we're gonna put a little bit more on the top of it after it starts to set. We'll pull it back out and top the top of it with cheese. This is probably a little bit more than you need for 4 servings, but this is a really nice leftover item because you can pop it in the microwave in the morning for a quick breakfast. So I went ahead and made a larger casserole dish just so that we'd have extra so that my husband and I could do that for a breakfast on the run. So now for the custard, we're going to take 7 large eggs, whip those, mix in a 1.5 cups of heavy whipping cream, salt, pepper, and nutmeg. This custard recipe is very versatile. You can use this for any egg casserole or quiche. This same custard recipe can be used for sweet custard pies. Just omit the salt and pepper and add sugar, syrup, honey, whatever you'd like to sweeten it with instead. Just make sure everything's pushed down in there. So this is going to go in the oven and bake. When your casserole starts to set, it will no longer jiggle on you. Your exteriors are going to start to set up, and you might just have a little small pocket in the middle that is wiggling. That's when you want to pull it out, put this cheese on the top, and as soon as that middle is set, no longer jiggly, then you're going to pull it out of the oven. You can also check the temp for 145 if you want, but normally, like I said, if that middle is set, you are good to go. Now, while our casserole is baking, I'm going to go ahead and get started on the fried potatoes and onions. I had a little bit of red onion and a little bit of white onion left. I didn't even have to get into the onion I purchased for this bin. So here we have the potatoes that we baked in meal 1. I've had those in the refrigerator chilling. So I'm going to now just kind of cut those in half. See how nice of a cut they make? Whenever you bake these, right before you turn them into fried potatoes and onions, I just don't think they cook as well, and they don't cut as well, and they usually become very mushy. So I just like to pre-bake them. These potatoes are seasoned, so we're going to be careful when we're seasoning everything, but we'll start with the onions, then we'll throw in the potatoes, and just kind of fry everything in some oil. Bacon grease, if you have it, would be nice. So I'm going to start with the onions. I'm going to let those go for a couple minutes. A little salt and pepper with those. I'm going to get the skillet nice and hot. I'm going to get a little bit of caramelization on these onions. Then I'm going to add in the baked potatoes here. What I'm going to do too, I'm going to actually then put them in the oven. I'm going to leave them in the oven for about 10 minutes. Then I'm going to bring them out and stir them. One thing with these fried potatoes, to get that nice crispy edge on them, you don't want to stir them too much. They got to have the heat. So I'm actually, since our oven's on, we're going to kind of cook them on the stovetop and then in the oven. That way they're going to get nice and crispy, and you don't have to babysit them as much, okay? So we're going to give the onions just a little bit, and then we'll throw in our potatoes, hit it with a touch more salt and pepper, and after our skillet gets nice and hot again, after I put these in, I'm going to throw it all in the oven. Sprinkle a little more cheese on that and pop it right back in the oven. It's almost completely set in the middle. All right, so meal 3, that is our breakfast egg casserole with fried potatoes and onions. The breakfast casserole, sausage, ham, green pepper and mushrooms, and shredded cheddar cheese in that. Who doesn't love breakfast for dinner? It always makes for an inexpensive meal. So throw some ketchup out there on the table for those fried potatoes and onions, and you've got some leftover breakfast egg casserole for the next couple of mornings. So awesome. Meal 3. So last but not least, meal 4. Let's do it to it. We're going to start sauteing our chicken and our sausage for this dish. These are all of our leftover pieces from the chicken Cordon Bleu fillets. Over here I have our water getting hot for the pasta. I'm going to cook off a half box of the penne pasta in the seasoned pasta water. I just got the olive oil in there and the salt in there as well. So our sausage and chicken is looking nice here. I just couldn't do it. I couldn't make it without fresh garlic. So I had garlic, so I cut up some fresh garlic. If you have some and you want to throw it in, go for it. Any fresh herbs, anything like that. I've got some basil growing out back. I might put some fresh basil in ours even. Let that garlic cook out a minute. Add in our fresh mushrooms. We're going to deglaze with our chicken broth that we saved from meal 2 and our heavy cream here. So now our pasta is not quite al dente, so we're just going to let this cream sauce kind of simmer down. I've got some dried Parmesan cheese to throw into that. That'll thicken it up a bit. Plus also add some cheese in there and sprinkle again some on the top as well. I've also got a bag of spinach that I'm just going to serve as a spinach salad with ranch dressing, or if you have any vinaigrette that you like to use. I've got some balsamic vinaigrette. I'm probably going to use that. You can always throw some of your spinach into your pasta. Frozen peas. I put frozen peas in the pasta a lot. I don't have any bread going with this meal. If you want to do some bread, you want to throw it in now. I have bread left over from last week's bin. You probably do too. So, you know, if you want to throw some bread in there last minute, go for it. I'm just going to give the pasta, it needs about 4 more minutes, and then I'll drain it out and toss it in here, thicken it with cheese, and we're ready to roll. So there is our meal 4. That is our creamy sausage, chicken, mushroom, penne pasta, with just a little bit of a fresh spinach salad there on the side. I had three cherry tomatoes left, so I have those, toss those on top. The pasta, you know, you just want to make sure you just cook it al dente, and a nice cream sauce with that. I threw in some garlic. You're welcome to throw in any other vegetables, any other herbs that you would like. Meal 4. So bin 17. This is one righteous setup. Oh, this is looking awesome. We started off our 4 meals with our sloppy joes. Sloppy joes with french fries. We put cheese on the sesame seed buns. Next, we went to meal 2. That was our chicken cordon bleu. A little bit complicated, but these are really good. And, you know, once you master this, you can whip these up in no time at all. I was actually surprised because I was a little bit daunted by the task as well. I rarely make these. I was actually surprised at how easy they were. It was not that complicated as I thought it was going to be, and they turned out beautiful. So there is our little roulade with the chicken, the ham, and the Swiss cheese all in there, lightly breaded. We serve the chicken cordon bleus with that Dijon cream sauce on the rice pilaf with the California mixed vegetables. Then we went on to meal 3. That was our breakfast egg casserole. So we took a ½ pound of Italian sausage with some of that leftover ham from the cordon bleu, some cheese, some mushrooms, some green pepper left over from the sloppy joes, and we made a breakfast egg casserole with eggs, heavy cream, salt, pepper, and nutmeg. A simple custard recipe that is very versatile for so many things. We're serving the breakfast egg casserole with the fried potatoes and onions. So we got fried potatoes and onions and french fries in this bin. So you better make sure you've got a bottle of ketchup handy. So then we're finishing up bin 17 with our penne pasta. So this is just some of the leftover stuff. So it was the chicken from where we filleted our chicken breast to make our chicken cordon bleus. We've got our ground sausage, the other half of the pound of ground sausage. We had some mushrooms left over. I made a cream sauce with the other ½ can of the chicken broth and the leftover heavy cream. And then I just served it with a nice fresh spinach salad, just so you have some vegetables in there, so you get some fiber and to contrast the rich pasta. So that's it, bin 17. So I hope you enjoyed everything. I hope my meal bins are working out for you. 4 meals for 4 people, always under $50. The meals take, on the average, 45 minutes to make. Some take less time, some a little bit longer. They're also very delicious meals. If you like what I'm doing, please give me a thumbs up and please subscribe to my channel. I appreciate your watching. Thank you. Hot Mom's Dinner Club.